Trump and Epstein were friends for more than a decade.
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
After Epstein's arrest in 2019, Trump said he hadn't spoken to him in 15 years. He insists he broke off the friendship when he learned Epstein and Maxwell were luring away young female staffers who worked at Mar-a-Lago.
He stole people that worked for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again, and I threw him out of the place, persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it.
A politically damaging vote on the release of the remaining federal files related to the investigation of deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein now appears inevitable after attempts to persuade two key Republican congresswomen to withdraw their support for the measure reportedly failed. Reports indicate that Donald Trump actively lobbied Representatives Lauren Boebert of Colorado and Nancy Mace of South Carolina to remove their signatures from a discharge petition. This petition achieved the necessary 218 signatures this week, automatically triggering a vote in the House of Representatives on legislation demanding the full release of the sealed documents. The prospect of the vote leaves Trump exposed on an issue that carries the potential to alienate significant segments of his political base, who often champion transparency and accountability. The attempt to sway Representative Boebert occurred during a White House meeting shortly after the House Oversight Democrats released a selection of Epstein's emails that suggest Trump may have possessed more knowledge about the financier's sex trafficking activities than he has publicly acknowledged. During the meeting, the regime reportedly employed various tactics to secure Boebert's withdrawal, including enlisting figures like Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel. When these appeals failed, the pressure allegedly escalated to include what was described as vague threats. However, citing sources familiar with her thinking, the reports indicated that the hardline approach had the counterproductive effect of stiffening Boebert's resolve. She reportedly grew suspicious that there might be a conspiracy afoot to conceal the full contents of the files, solidifying her commitment to the petition. Similarly, Representative Mace, who is a candidate for governor in South Carolina, reportedly received an unsuccessful attempt by Trump to contact her by phone. Mace later explained her position in a letter to Trump, citing her personal history as a survivor of sexual assault and rape, and affirming that she could not change her mind on the matter. She later emphasized on social media that the petition was deeply personal. The two congresswomen were joined by other Republicans, Thomas Massie of Kentucky, a co-sponsor of the bill, and Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, a figure previously considered a fiercely loyal Trump ally, in signing the petition.
We are seeing these big leaks like the one today, selectively, according to the White House, that claims that Donald Trump knew in 2011 about Epstein's crimes.
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong.
The president himself muses the Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown. And so many other subjects. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap.
When Joe Biden was sitting in there, the Democrats never brought this up. This wasn't an issue that they cared about because they actually don't care about the victims in these cases. They care about trying to score political points against President Trump.
White House officials would much rather talk about their hope that the House will soon vote to reopen the government.
There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C., and it is not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government.
Coming out of the shutdown, President Trump's approval on the economy in an AP poll is 33%.
The crucial 218th signature was finally secured this week with the swearing in of Democrat Adelita Grijalva, an event that has been delayed for over 2 months following her special election victory. Democrats accused Speaker Mike Johnson of deliberately delaying Grijalva's oath-taking in a last-ditch attempt to prevent the discharge petition from gaining the numbers needed to trigger the vote. With the vote now scheduled for early December, Representative Ro Khanna, the petition's Democratic co-sponsor, predicted that between 40 and 50 Republicans could ultimately vote alongside Democrats to release the files. Although the legislation will still need approval from the Senate, it can potentially face a veto from the executive branch. The very act of a Republican-controlled House voting in favor of the measure presents a significant political challenge to Donald Trump by fueling the base's demands for unsealing the documents. The renewed speculation over the Epstein files was driven by a tranche of correspondence released by House Democrats, which raised serious questions about the extent and nature of Trump's long-running relationship with Epstein, who died by suicide in prison in 2019 while awaiting trial for sex trafficking charges. The documents contained 3 especially relevant exchanges. Firstly, in 2019, in a direct message to columnist and author Michael Wolff, Epstein explicitly stated concerning of Trump, of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. This allegation suggests direct knowledge of Epstein's illegal conduct, contradicting Trump's previous assertions that Epstein merely stole young female staffers from his Mar-a-Lago club. Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's former girlfriend and co-conspirator, is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for her role procuring girls for abuse. Secondly, an email exchange between Epstein and Maxwell revealed Epstein's observation about the lack of public scrutiny on his former friend Trump. Epstein wrote, "I want you to realize that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Virginia Giuffre spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned." This cryptic phrase, which can denote a silence that is more significant than any sound, indicated that Epstein was surprised that an associate who had reportedly spent substantial time with the victim at his home had remained unmentioned in the subsequent scandal. Virginia Giuffre died by suicide in April at the age of 41. Other released messages paint a picture of Epstein's later, highly negative opinion of Donald Trump. In a 2017 email, Epstein wrote, "I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body," and in other instances referred to Trump as a maniac showing signs of early dementia. Further, the emails detailed a 2015 exchange where Epstein sought media advice from Michael Wolff on how to manage Trump's response to questions about their relationship during an upcoming CNN interview. Wolff suggested that if Trump were to deny having been on Epstein's plane or at his house, it would grant Epstein valuable PR and political currency to hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, implying a belief that Epstein possessed damaging information on the then presidential candidate. The White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt labeled the email releases as a manufactured hoax by the Democratic Party and a distraction campaign. She argued that Democrats were using the scandal to deflect attention from other political matters, such as the recently ended 43-day federal government shutdown, which had been the longest in U.S. history.
The argument from officials here that was made by Caroline Leavitt in the briefing room a few minutes ago is that there's a tell that shows that these Epstein emails being released today is a partisan exercise by congressional Democrats. This is how she came to that conclusion.
There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C., and it is not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government. This is another distraction campaign by the Democrat and the liberal media, and it's why I'm being asked questions about Epstein instead of the government reopening because of Republicans.
Despite the political spin, one unnamed Trump ally was quoted as saying that the email releases had taken things that are already complicated for the president and brought them to the surface. As the House prepares for the forced vote, the growing clamour for transparency ensures the Epstein files remain a significant political vulnerability for Trump, whose tactic of claiming it's all a hoax might come back to bite him. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.